Hey, this is Mark Henry, author of Dancing with Energy, Healing Magic, and Mysticism, here to talk to you more about the occult and the paranormal. Well, today I'm going to be talking about the demonic sounds of music. We already talked about music and angelic communication last week, and now we're going to go to the dark side and talk about that, or at least somewhat scratch the surface of it. It's a really deep field with a lot of information. So maybe there'll be follow-up videos. All right. So before we begin, as usual, let me let you know that with my attunement store, I have a Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. For those of you who want to take advantage of that, I recently put St. Pio, Padre Pio attunement in the attunement store. I also put in For Us, the Goetic Spirit in there. So if you are interested in understanding others, increasing vitality, and many other things, then check him out. I'll put a link in the description. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this story takes place in Mississippi, involving a talentless, failed guitar player named Robert Johnson. He would go and practice, not get very far. He would try to play with his friends, and they referred to his playing as complete noise. They kicked him out of clubs when he wanted to just kind of go in there and play a little bit. So he really wasn't getting very far, even after practicing for a number of years. Now, Robert had heard the stories that were being circulated. The stories go that if you go to the crossroads and asked the devil for guitar lessons, that he would tune your guitar and then you would never be the same, or your playing would never be the same. So he thought about this, and one day he got so desperate that he indulged this story. So he went to, in Clarksdale, Mississippi, the corner of Highway 49 and 61, at midnight with his guitar and waited. And according to him, the devil appeared. At that point, he claims to have sold his soul to the devil for extraordinary guitar playing and to become popular as a result of it. Now, what's surprising about this story is that within a matter of months, 1, 2 months, he already started outstripping his guitar playing friends. He not only developed the talent of extraordinary guitar playing, but songwriting and singing and everything related to guitar playing activities. He later became known as the father of rock and roll, which according to he got nominated and awarded by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Also became known as the master of the blues, master of specifically the Delta blues. Now he had his career rose rapidly and then stopped suddenly. His recording work had only lasted 7 months. And then he died suddenly at the age of 27. Much like you'll hear I guess, the 27 Club, where several other musicians have died. I believe Jim Morrison, maybe Amy Winehouse, and several others. So his career stopped suddenly. And it kind of makes you wonder that if he sold his soul to some type of dark spirit and that spirit delivered, whether when that was fulfilled, whether when he died suddenly of unknown causes, whether that debt was collected. Who knows? It would be an example of myth creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, he spoke about this in his work. His friends even verified how he rapidly changed his guitar playing. He wrote a song called, I think it's called Me and the Devil, and Me and the Devil, Delta Blues songs, kind of documenting this. That brings up a whole other topic. If we as a thought experiment think about, okay, so was there something to this? Well, I've known authors who've written books to specific dark spirits, demons, and they did it as an offering. One of the things that some spirits require is to be more well-known, to have their name circulated. And that's what they do, is that they'll write books or some other type of offerings. So now I'm thinking about, okay, so were these songs also an offering? I was reading that his friends believed that he was really scared of having that debt collected, that he was always kind of looking over his shoulder to see if death was around the corner, if that his soul would be taken from him. Now, if he was considered the father of rock and roll already in the beginning had that association with demonic forces and the like, it got me also thinking that, and I mentioned this in a previous video, that, well, who was in heaven supposedly the director of music? Well, Lucifer. At that point. Now, Lucifer, of course, according to the text, changed a little bit, and it got kind of conflated with Satan. And some argue whether is that the same entity or different expressions of that same entity. In any case, that when Lucifer fell, the fall of the angels, then Sandalphon became the director of music in heaven. So it made me think, okay, so there is a connection here between that spirit and music, and in this inception of rock and roll. So let's talk a little bit about, okay, so what happened afterward? So then you have later on, because this was like in the 1930s. So later on, you have in the late 80s, the 90s, and so on, you have heavy metal. So you have Slayer, you have Ozzy, you have Megadeth. And the lead singer of Megadeth even admits in late teens, early 20s, he was experimenting with dark magic and actually caused harm to someone. He regrets it now. But they did a song called The Conjuring, which gave specific details of how to summon a demon who was a representative of the King of Hell or something like that. So anyway, that is there. So what do y'all think? As far as the Robert Johnson, do you think that this was created to kind of promote a career, and that somehow he was better than he thought, or better than people thought? There's a lot of evidence that something happened that changed his life, changed his guitar playing, and then suddenly his life ended. Makes you think, huh? Alrighty. Well, you all have a good Sunday. And I'll put a link in the description to the Etsy store if you want to participate in my Patreon. I have videos from the last at least 3 or 4 years that you could watch, not on YouTube. New material, and sometimes there's second parts of videos that I've put. Also get private messaging with me if you have questions. Okay, folks, hope that y'all had a good holiday, and I will see you in a future video. Take care.